All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is chapter 6.2, and we're going to apply properties of rational exponents. So the two main goals that we've got here is we're going to use the properties of exponents that we learned in chapter 5, and we're going to do them with rational exponents. We're also going to use some properties of radicals to put a radical into its simplest form. So let's go ahead and just really quickly review the properties of exponents that we learned in the last chapter. So essentially here, when we multiply variables, numbers together at the same base, we add the exponents. When we have a power to a power, we multiply the exponents. When we have when there's two numbers inside the parentheses or two variables, they both get that power. A negative exponent flips it upside down. A zero exponent is always equal to 1. When we divide variables, we subtract the exponents. And a quotient with a power on the outside, we're not distributing, but both of the variables or numbers on the inside of those parentheses gets the power. Okay, so we're going to use these same properties the way that we used them before to answer some questions, but this time about rational exponents. Now, I want to remind everybody that nothing is changing here. We're just doing this with exponents, with rational exponents, fraction exponents instead. So this type of a question right here, where we have 7 to the 1/4 times 7 to the 1/2, the bases are the same, and because of that, we're going to add the exponents together. 1/4 plus 1/2. And so that is going to equal 7 to the 3/4. And we're just going to call it there, right? When we're doing these ones with the properties of exponents, you can take steps to simplify that number when possible, but for now we're just going to use the properties to simplify rather than actually evaluate everything. Okay? Let's look at this second one here. We have two numbers on the inside of the parentheses being taken to this power. So again, everything gets taken to the second power. So we have 6 to the 1/2, and again it's power to a power, so we're multiplying by 2. And that's going to be times 4 to the 1/3 multiplied by 2. And so that's going to be 6 to the 2/2, which is 1, so that's just 6, times 4 to the 2/3. And again, we're just going to leave that like that, because 4 to the 2/3 is going to give us a irrational number, so we're just going to leave it like that. Finally, we've got these ones down here with the variables. We have x to the 5th to the 1/5 power. Again, this is power to a power, so we're multiplying the exponents. That's not a very good looking exponent. I'm going to write that down there so it looks more like an exponent. And then same thing with the y. It also gets that 1/5 power. So both of these are 5/5, which means that this is just xy, because it's 1 and 1 are the exponents. We got two more examples here. We're dividing now, so that means we're subtracting exponents. This means that we're doing 5 to the 1 minus 1/3, which is 5 to the 2/3. Right? And finally, we have our last problem here, which you'll notice that we have different bases on this one, so we can't subtract the exponents, but you'll notice that we have the exponents. So we're actually we're going to use the quotient property in reverse. Remember, the quotient property said that when you have ab to some power, that this is a to the c and b to the c. We're actually going to use that in reverse. Since we have the exponents as the same number, we're going to say that this is 42/6 to the 1/3 squared. So notice that what I did was, instead of taking the 1/3 to both power, I did it in reverse. And what that allows us to do, because that's the same, we can do 42 divided by 6, which is 7 to the 1/3, which is then being squared. I can then do power of a power, which is 1/3 times 2, and get 7 to the 2/3. So on this last one, I used a little bit of a trick. I did the quotient property in reverse. Since the exponents were the same, I pulled it outside of the parentheses, and then I divided, and then I did the power property to finish simplifying. Okay, I have some practice questions for you in your packet, so go ahead and do those, and then come on back, and we'll see you in the next video.